Good morning and hello. This is Kassandra Weleck, your state president, and today I am with Bobbi Stoutenburgh, our outgoing Arizona Study Program chair. Good morning, Bobbi.
Good morning, Cassandra.
I just wanted to go over some things about Arizona Study Program. I know a lot of teachers in the state do participate in it, but then there are some that don't, maybe some that want to get involved but don't know how. But I thought with the many years of experience that you have with the program, it would be fun to kind of get your perspective on everything kind of related to it. So first and foremost, how did you get involved with ASP?
There was many years ago, before you were born. I started off as a neighborhood piano teacher, working with four of my daughters, and anyway, I went down to the music store at Central Music and was looking through the music and met this young woman named Marie Rusin. And she said, do you know anything about Arizona State music teachers? And of course I said I hadn't. So she introduced me to that. And she says, well, you've got to get involved with study program. And I'm going, what is that? So, I did my research and got involved, joined in. I think it was 1978 is when I became a member. And then things kind of pushed on from there.
Very, very fun. So just randomly met somebody that pulled you in. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my experience with study program was when I started at ASU. Jan Meyer Thompson was still the pedagogy there. She immediately pulled us all into the ASP. We had to learn it, do it, and it's just going from there. So just two very different ways of us.
Absolutely.
What has been one of your favorite aspects of ASP?
Do you know, I have there's not everything about it. Number one, like I said, I was a neighborhood teacher and it didn't have any training at the time. At the time I had just started going to school. And like I said, I had all these kids. I had 5 children, actually. We do have 5 children. And there were things that I didn't like about the method books because of what I was learning in school. So then the study program came along and I said, oh, wow, I can do anything I want to here. And, it taught theory the way that I thought was more logical. The repertoire was just amazing. We have an extremely vast wealth of repertoire that we can choose from. It's like I tell my kids, if you don't like this piece, I've got 100,000 more that we can choose from. So, that's very important to me. And of course, the technique. Most of people say scales. What are scales? I know I had scales as a kid, but not to the extent that study program requires. And as time went along, all this helped my kids that went further on in their studies of music. They were all prepared to go into college with music. So there's every part of it I like.
I know for myself, when I first started, I loved having the structure, especially being a new teacher. I liked having a program that told me exactly what to do and exactly how to get my students to a certain point. And so that's one aspect I really enjoyed about study program, and I'm very grateful for still. So you've been doing this for many years. How has the program evolved since you first started with it?
Okay, when it first started, it was in the late 50s, and of course, I wasn't involved with it then. But what they had, it actually started as a certification program for teachers. It was not an evaluation program only; it was a certification program. And as far as what the materials that were being used, they were what we call theory drills. Had you ever seen those? You have never seen the theory drills. Okay, I have kept a set of them, and they were basically a set of questions that you were given to prepare your kids for the theory test. And we did have a repertoire guide, but then there were several of us that thought, there's a better way to do things. And so we approached Janice McKernan, who at the time was, of course, one of the founders of the program, and said, we'd like to make some changes. And she said, have at it, girls. And So that's how it was an enormous change from what originally happened. It's so much easier for a teacher now to work with their students the way the program is set up than it was in the past.
Where did you gain the most information from ASP? In other words, did you learn most of what you needed to know with ASP from colleagues that were in the program or other teachers? Or did you learn most of the things that you needed to know about study program from the print material?
The way I did it is when I first heard about it, I'm one of these people that likes to do things on their own. And at the time, I couldn't go out of my area, my home, because we just, with all the kids and everything, I just didn't have the time and the finances to go. So anyway, I bought the drills and I went through, at the time, the theory drills, went through every one of them, got my information, had somebody look them over, and eventually I kept these as my answer guides, etc. Got all the technique information and did all the technique. Then I started reading through all the repertoire. So it was kind of like, and when I talk to other teachers now, I said, if you really want to do a good job with the study program, do all the workbooks, do all the technique, find a teacher that can help you to get through them, etc. Investigate the repertoire. If you know the repertoire, you can do anything.
Absolutely, I agree. That's one of the first things I did too, is I went through all the theory books to kind of see, oh, this is what's going to happen in this level. This is what's going to happen in this.
Exactly.
Played through all the technique because some of that technique gets very challenging towards the up.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so it was really important to just discover it all. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that went through the materials and really tried to disseminate it in a way that worked for me. But then also being able to go and ask people, well, how do I do this? Where do I go for that?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you've been involved in the study program for many years. I'm sure that you have a really funny story or two about something that has happened to us.
Oh, I read that question. I'm going, okay, I really don't. We were always so serious when we were working. But I think of one thing when we went through the change in the study program in the mid '90s. There were five of us that worked together, and we saw, and you know who the five are. It's Gloria Ridd, who has passed away, Nancy Spitzer, who has also passed away, Carol Hill, Fran Casper, and myself. And we got together almost every weekend in the summertime from 1994 until the first release of the pilot program in the late '90s. And we would meet either at my house or Carol's house, and I think a couple times at Fran's house. And there were times when your head was just floating with things to do. And we're at Carol Hill's house one day, and her husband walks in and says, "Okay, ladies, it's time for some fuzzy navels." And we go, "Fuzzy navels? What is a fuzzy navel?" I had no idea. So it's kind of funny. I'm not a drinker, but it's about the only funny thing. We laugh about it still. And we hopped into her pool just to relax, and because it was in the summertime, naturally. So, but that's the only funny thing. We were always so dead serious when we were working that we didn't take time out, to really think of anything goofy.
Oh, that is fun though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I used to be a local chair in Tucson, and one of the
Yes.
things that I sincerely enjoyed, maybe it's kind of morbid, but I liked finding the strangest answers on the theory tests. Um, Especially when students didn't know what was going on. Name these notes, and they would have actual names like Stephen, Charlie, Jennifer. It was, those were the things that I remember being incredibly funny for study program.
we,
Maybe
we I do have a funny one. You're mentoring answering. Those are always fun to do, is to grade the exams. And we had one, it was a level 12, and it asked, the question was, and this is before we had the workbooks, this is the theory exams, the old theory workbook drills. It said, describe a suite. And the answer that the kid put down was uh, a room in a hotel. And I knew the kid's teacher, and I said, and because it was not going to be good for him, the answer that he gave or his grade. And I said, his teacher's going to kill him. His teacher's going to, but a room in a suite, and a room in a hotel. So anyway, that was probably one of the funniest grades I've ever seen,
well,
or
he's not
answers.
wrong.
Huh? What
He's
was that?
not wrong.
No, he's not wrong, but wasn't right for the exam.
All right. So let's see. There are close to 2,000 students that are evaluated each year in study program, and I know they come from all walks of life, from all kinds of teachers. What kind of student do you feel that this program is best suited for, or do you think it's a great program in general for the general kind of student?
If the teacher knows the program, it's for everybody. Not everybody will get to a level 12, but everybody can get through the program. To be in my studio, you must be in the study program. That's been since day one. And, uh, and I've been able to adapt the program to those students' individual needs. And like I said, some kids will not get to a level 12. Just like in math, some kids will not get to a straight A all the way through. And but the value of the program that they take with them is just unbelievable. So I think if you know the program, you can get any student through it.
And I know that one of the biggest disappointments this year for a lot of students is that they were not able to be evaluated. The level 12A students were able to be evaluated. But what is ASP going to do for the students that did prepare this year that were unable to evaluate?
Yeah, we just had a meeting last week, and we decided that all students that were registered for the program will have credit for this year, even though they did not participate. It wasn't any of their fault that the program was canceled or the pandemic hit us, but they did prepare for it, and we have to give credit for that. So that's going to be a big thing. And actually, one of my things on my agenda today is to send out a certificate that says it's going to be given to every student that is registered in the program that says you did prepare to participate in the program. So every one of them are going to be acknowledged in that manner.
I love that. I love that it shows something for the effort that they did put forth, even if they
Yes.
weren't able to complete it. So I know that a lot of teachers will be grateful for that. I know you don't work alone. I know that Arizona Study Program is not just Bobbi Stoutenburgh. Can you tell us a little bit about the committee you work with and the kinds of work that they do to assist?
Yeah. The committee, this has been an amazing committee. I've been working off and on the committee since the early 80s. And every committee's been amazing. Everybody's been very dedicated to it. And that's the biggest thing is you have to have this dedication that the study program is a very worthwhile effort because it's all volunteer. Um, the We have a chairman, and recently we put in an assistant chairman and a treasurer and a secretary, all the usual. But we also have chairmen for each of our statewide local associations, of which there are six of them, and they are the biggest workers because they actually administer the program. They prepare, they take in all the registrations. They prepare all the materials that are needed for the evaluations. They prepare the evaluation sites, things that nobody, unless you're really working on a committee, as you well know, Kassandra, because you were on the committee as well. You know the work that's involved. And so the committee does all this stuff in order to do it. And it is all volunteer work, so, and I think that, as you well know, our local associations are very diverse in numbers. We have some that maybe only have less than 40 students that will evaluate, up to almost 1,200 in our East Valley Association. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I can remember in Tucson having 300 students and preparing everything for
Yes.
that was quite a challenge. I can't even imagine how they do it in East Valley. That's an amazing feat every year. I'm always amazed. I know that ASP does more, like you said, they used to do a certification program for teachers, but now it's mostly about student evaluations. Are
Mhm.
there other things that are still available for teachers through study program?
Yeah, we do have a couple of what do you call them, grants, and in the all the years that I've been state chairman, no one's applied, even though I keep putting down the music grants. These grants are available, but they're grants to further teachers' education or whatever they need it for. Also, I know there was a big discussion at our state meeting on certification. There is a certification grant as well. There are requirements because it is a study program that you have this, that you have this participation stuff going on as well in order to get the grant. I'd like to see more people apply for it, but I can only put my notes out as often as I can in the musicgrams, but they are there.
Do you remember what the amounts are for these grants?
I think the wording is whatever is available at the time. But I know there's been a grant given in the past for like $500, and it just really depends on what our funds are at the time.
Excellent. I'm hoping that more teachers will take advantage of.
Yes,
I've looked at those requirements as well. They're not challenging if you've been doing study program for
right.
a little while.
Hmm.
So the last question I want to ask, since you've been chair for such a long time, and we appreciate so much of the work that you've put in to make the program what it is, what kinds of things do you envision for the future of ASP? What kinds of things do you hope can happen in the future?
Well, as we've actually had things that we've liked to do for a bunch of years, but we haven't. You need the volunteers to do it. I don't know if you realize in the past we have had other instruments in the program, other instrumental programs, and as long as we have someone to chair it, I'm a piano person. I'm not a violin person. I'm not a vocal person. But as long as you have somebody to chair it, the study program supports that. And the other thing is, like, when I first was in the program, we did have sight reading evaluations. When we were writing the new program, we tried to put in ear training programs, but then we thought this isn't going to work because of this and this and this. And so I would like to see these come in. In fact, at my last meeting, I was saying, this is what I would like to say. And they said, we thought you were trying to get out of this. And you're thinking of all new things for it to happen. I said, these aren't new. These are things that we would like to see happen. But like I said, the only way it happens, the only way this organization stays and functions is with our volunteer program. And that's the biggest thing. And we're having trouble getting volunteers. It's just the way it is right now. As you well know, being the state president, it's hard to find volunteers to do a lot of stuff, right?
Absolutely. And the thing that I keep telling people is that if there's something that you believe in, if there's something that you feel strongly about, then really you should take action for it. And whether that's volunteering your time, donating money, whatever it looks like for you, do it. And not only is it helping you, it's helping those in the same community. And so everybody benefits from it. So I really do hope that people take advantage of the opportunities presented both by ASP and their local associations to do something within those groups. So Bobbi, thank you so much for spending this time with me today and
Absolutely.
doing this interview. Like I said before we started this is going to be great to look at in posterity for how the program developed, how it's been, where we'd like to see things go in the future. We are so grateful for your time as the ASP chair and everything that you and your committee have been able to do. And we hope that this is not the last time that we see you.
Well, it's been my absolute joy and absolute pleasure. And anybody that knows me well knows how I feel about the study program. What you were saying about what you can do is absolutely true. Um, I remember saying in front of a group one time, this organization, not just the study program, the whole organization has done so much to encourage me as a teacher. I've been able to produce some very, very fine students. And it's through this organization, through this program. And I was addressing a group of teachers at the time, study program, ASMTA teachers. And I said, give back whatever you can give back, because we're giving so much to you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, thank you. And we hope, like I said, to see you again sometime here in the near future. Take
Thank you
care.
so much. You have a great day.